go. There you go. There you go. People at home should be able to hear us. You've got the stream on a second monitor, right? Or on your monitor, right?
Yep.
Yeah. If you could just tell me that if you can hear things when
the delay
yeah.
comes. Yeah, obviously at the moment I'm in the middle of sundial, but
Oh yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay.
It will change. It will change soon. At some point now.
Right. Yep, I can hear.
Okay, great. So we're just waiting for the folk at home now. We shall be starting soon.
Yes.
Exciting. Bit late. We're 18 minutes late, but hey ho, that's fine. I shall click record so that I can edit it for some YouTube videos. There we go. Can't find. Yeah.
Sounds great. And hopefully you should have some fun matches here.
Yeah. I'll just turn.
See if are they.
See how good they are against each other. This first match, it was quite surprising to see Navision win against Hockey. I thought Hockey was going to win against Navision, but Navision is pulling in some moves.
Yeah, he's done well so far, but we'll see how he does now against the probably expected pre-tournament favorite in 66, who
Oh, they've started.
definitely has a rating advantage.
They've started. I shall link it to you. It's fine. It's fine. Wait. Yeah, sorry. I just need them to restart. Because they started the game.
Isn't it possible for us to spectate the game, and if someone just resigns, we start spectating, and then they restart it as soon as we're into the game? Perhaps.
Yeah, that could work. I'm just waiting for there to be a game. There you go.
Yes.
And I've linked it in the channel. And then
Right,
put it on
perfect.
the stream. So there you go.
Yes.
You can start. There you go.
Right.
So
So we have
6-6 playing black with Navision playing white.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is fairly expected. From what I've seen of their games, they play fairly traditionally with their openings as e4, e5. Okay, Italian.
The Italian game. Interesting.
Oh, and the Envision goes for a very sneaky attack here with knight to g5, the fried liver attack, and he actually has a fork here now if he puts his knight to take the pawn on f7, but he misses it.
Was castling the right move? They both castled.
For Envision, he actually had a knight move. Since his bishop is on c4, it's all both his knight and bishop are attacking the f7 pawn, and if he would move his knight there, he would be attacking both the queen and the rook with his knight, and would be able to be up in the exchange.
Right.
But now that 66 castled, he is kind of weathering the storm a bit here, and is for the most part out of trouble.
Yeah.
And it's a very even game.
Oh.
Okay.
Risk that.
That's an interesting trade here, because now obviously Envision gives up 2 pieces, but 66 gives up a rook and a pawn for it, and his king is a little bit in a rough position now as well.
It does look as if Navision is playing quite offensive, isn't he, compared to 6-6, at least to me.
Definitely. We'll see here now that Envision has given up 2 pieces. it'll be interesting to see if he can use this time, now that 66's king is a little bit less safe, to see if Envision can create an attack here, or if 66 is able to stabilize, and which it seems he kind of has done. His pieces are all developed and have started getting more active pieces here, or active squares for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite nice that they both have those center pawns as well, don't they? Whoever takes the other center pawn, that's a pretty damning blow.
Definitely. It'll be we'll have to see a bit here.
Oh, interesting.
If someone pushes the center pawn to break open the center.
Yeah. I mean, I guess 6-6 could put that knight on the pawn, but I don't think that's the best move because he'll risk it again.
Yeah, I mean for 6-6 right now, he only really has one piece here that is undeveloped, which is his rook that is still left
yeah.
on AA.
Yeah.
So if he just gets that here to the center, he should be in a very good position here to try and look from tactics.
Yeah.
All right, that's I still like this move because it starts putting a bit of pressure on Envision's backline here. He could try to be looking for something, perhaps. We'll see if Envision will trade, or if he could also just leave the knight left on that square as well. Let's see what he decides to do. And obviously as well, 10-minute games, so both players are fairly high on the clock thus far, and haven't really used up too much time.
Yeah, it looks like Navision is wasting a bit of time here, but I'm sure. There you go. Never mind.
Right.
6-6 has the time advantage, but doesn't mean too much in a time like this.
Yeah, it's also not that much of an advantage, really. Oh, interesting.
That's quite an aggressive move.
Definitely going for an idea called the Greek gift, where you give up your bishop in a position like that when it's supported by his queen that is currently on d7.
Alright,
Now,
yeah, I see the queen there.
the thing is, for Envision here, this is actually quite dubious for him, because if he takes that bishop, I think he will be in a lot of trouble, because then the queen will take back the pawn on h3, and now all of a sudden 66 will have an incredible attack going against Envision's king.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult actually to deal with it. Will he move his king? Will he do something else? It's a very difficult position.
Yeah.
And I think he might actually have to burn quite a bit of time here to find a way to get out of this safely.
Especially how we know how. Oh, there you go. That seems like a bit of a loss of the move. Bit of a wasted move to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's optimal, but at the same time, it's not that bad. He if you look at least around his king, he still seems to be fairly safe, considering that 66 can't really take any more pawns as it is right now. But at the same time, depending what it does, this could start getting more dangerous if 66 brings more pieces into the attack.
Yeah. I mean, it does look as if 6-6 has more room, as you say, more room to develop and to attack. It looks as if Navision is quite pinned with his pieces, right?
Yeah, definitely. They are kind of, as it's called, overloaded at the moment, where his pieces are doing a lot of things, so he can't really move them. And 66's pieces are also just taking up so much room, so that Envision doesn't have a lot of squares to move his pieces. Like if you look right now, what's Envision gonna do with his queen? It's kind of difficult here to actually find a good way to get his queen to stay square here.
Yeah. Yeah. He's wasting his queen as such, isn't he?
Definitely. Obviously, 66's knight is doing a lot of work there.
Yeah,
And okay.
that seems like a fair move to make. I mean, the last thing Division wanted was to lose the queen, I guess.
Definitely. The only danger now that I could see is potentially if 66 captures that pawn on f3 and N-Vision recaptures, then all of a sudden we got a similar issue again where 66 can easily just put his queen down near N-Vision's king, and the white king doesn't have any pawns around it to actually protect it.
Mm. Yeah.
So this could be such an instance where 66 could definitely sacrifice this bishop and get a huge attack going.
Yeah, I mean
But
the
we'll see what he goes
optics.
for.
Yeah, the optics in favor of 6-6 are. Oh, there you
He
go.
goes for it.
Risking it.
Yeah, so I suspect that N-Vision will recapture here. But now,
But the fork. Oh, yeah.
now, okay, yeah, this looks
Very, very offensive from 6-6.
definitely. This will. The only thing now though is that 6-6 is in a very similar position that N-Vision was in the opening, where N-Vision was very aggressive and kind of went down a little bit of material to try and find some aggressive moves early. And now all of a sudden, 6-6 has once again now 6-6 has sacrificed some material, and if 6-6 isn't able to find an accurate attack here, then it could still be possible for N-Vision to kind of get back in the game and start stabilizing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it looks very favorable in 6-6 position right now, doesn't it? Like, in terms of the time, 6-6 has a whole minute on Division, and in terms of positioning as well, it looks as if Division is in quite a lot of trouble. Can he get out of it?
Yeah, it'll be very difficult to say now because if 6-6 puts his queen on h2 to check the king, then I think it's gonna be really difficult to actually get back into this game.
Where can
Because
the if 6-6 puts that queen down one, where could Division go?
he does it. The only
Oh
square
yeah, there. Yeah.
the Envision has is there. And
It looks as if yeah, this is gonna be a bit of a back and forth, I reckon.
it could be. They could go for a draw if they want, of course, but I don't think they could go for a draw with threefold repetition, but I don't think that's something that 6-6 would want to do in this position.
Yeah, and not ideal either if they go to a draw. um,
Exactly.
I mean
Uh,
the accuracy of 6-6 seems like is very good as well. So
yeah, he in the opening he kind of had a bit of an odd position there, where Envision actually had a tactic that could put him very far ahead in the game already on move 4, but or move on move 5. But now 6-6 has definitely got it together, and it looks to be like this is gonna take a lot for Envision to come back.
yeah, that was an interesting move that he put there with the bishop.
Yeah. So I actually kind of like this because what this does now is by removing 6-6's knight in the center there, it kind of opens up a little bit more, a few more squares for N-Vision's pieces. But
Oh, there you go.
there we go.
That was the beauty of a checkmate, I reckon. Wait,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, N-Vision right there. He put his knight forward and he blocked all possible defenses for his pieces. And 6-6 brought
Impressive
it back, and
game. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he won
Wow.
it.
That was I didn't
Match
I didn't see that checkmate coming that quickly. But yeah, there you go. Well done to 6-6 for
Yeah,
winning that.
congratulations.
Yeah. So we will now be moving, hopefully. I'm just gonna put us back onto this screen whilst we prepare for the next game. But we're hoping um, to get Anshul versus February Wings playing their game now. Um, so let's try and get this going. Um,
Yeah, and she'll just notify that he's here or
yeah,
she. I don't even know if it's.
he,
I
yeah.
don't know. Is he okay?
Only one game. Sweet. Got it. So let's ping these two. I mean, yes.
Yep.
I'm sure people would like to play 3 games, but based on people being late to the event and that sort of thing, I think it's only fair. Um, it's only fair that we only play 1 game because it would be quite nice to play it all now. Okay. Who's just joined? This is
6-6.
all right. Yeah, you can stay in here. Just don't talk. Just stay on mute. Um, because we're commentating. And when if in the final, if you can leave as well. Um, so yeah. So as I've let me just repeat. Okay. I'm actually going to turn this lo-fi off for this one as well, because I don't think it's needed. Um, okay, so February is coming online.
Yep.
We're gonna see if we can get this going. Um, that was a great game though, 6-6. Hopefully, hopefully the final, whoever wins this game, is going to be equally as interesting. Um,
Definitely. It was a nice game. Uh, I think Envision had a few chances, but at the same time, I think 6-6 did well past the opening to get himself into a good position and eventually get that checkmate.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so you'll be advancing to the finals now. And once we get Anshul and February going, we'll see who wins. I mean, have you watched these
Yep.
two players play before? Like, um, it's going to be a pretty balanced game in terms of skill level. Both of them are, I think, on similar kind of skill. Um,
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them play a little bit. I haven't looked at all the matches at the tournament, but I've seen most of them, and I think they're definitely on a similar level. I would say.
yeah,
Obviously, there's a bit of a rating advantage to Feathery. Not much of one, but a little bit. But from seeing Angel play, especially versus Sour Lemon,
yeah,
I think I was a little bit surprised, actually, about how well he played. I think from what he showed in against Sour, I think he might actually have a very good chance here to,
yeah.
despite
Okay,
a little bit of a rating
yeah,
difference
I
back
agree.
from it.
So let's they're playing their game now. Start. Um, yeah. So as you say, it's going to be a interesting game, seeing how they've played against previous people. So yeah. So Anshul is playing white, with February playing black. Um, Anshul is pulling the basic move, I guess. Oh,
Uh,
quite an interesting start from February, right there.
Let me see. Can you quickly send the game so I can?
I sent it, I think. If you check,
Oh yeah,
address, yeah,
it's that one.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
yeah. Sorry. I mean, they've only just started. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
looking.
this is actually this is very nice actually. So this is so obviously Angel is playing white, right? And he played d4 as the first move, but then they transposed into the Caro-Kann with the c6 d5 defense from black, and then with f3, this is actually something called the Caro-Kann fantasy variation, which is probably my favorite opening in chess overall. So it's gonna be fun to see how they play.
Yeah. Just realised I forgot to put the flags on the last game, so I've put the flags on for this game, but oh well. Um, so yeah, so interesting start. I mean, again, like I was saying earlier, this feels like it's going to be a more balanced game than the previous game with 6-6 and the Vision.
Yeah,
Um, they're both playing interesting moves. It feels in terms of it doesn't look as if anyone is winning per se.
yeah, it's this is actually due to the way that there have been a lot of pawn moves thus far. Uh, they've kind of opened up, especially for white here. There are a lot of squares opened up for white that could perhaps be taken advantage of for black if black gets his pieces out. But at the same time, as you said, this is definitely very even and actually quite a fun opening with
Yeah, it looked like I've
especially the
never.
way that
Yeah, I've never
white
seen
gets his
that.
pieces.
I've never seen that opening when I play my games. So it was quite an interesting thing to look at.
Yeah, this is actually this is a very rare a very rare version. Caro-Kann is in the that common of defense regardless, but especially this version of the Caro-Kann defense, the fantasy variation is very rare.
Yeah, yeah. That was quite an aggressive bishop from February, wasn't it? But Anshul took it again.
Yeah, so Federer took traded his bishop for Angel's knight, and now he trades again in the center here by taking the d pawn. Uh, where I just expect Angel to take back with his c pawn as well,
Yeah,
and we're actually gonna see quite a strong center here for Angel, having both d4 and the e4 with his pawns.
it's quite nice. On the other hand, it's quite nice that February has both his knights in reasonably good positions as well. Oh,
Definitely. Oh, and he takes with the bishop actually. That is actually surprising. Okay,
no trade there.
he they trade back.
Oh, damn.
So this means that, as you see, obviously, Federer was able to take back the pawn with his queen, but there are still some good ways here for Angel to win something back from this pawn, because now, as you see, on the left side of the king and on the queen side, there are a lot of squares there that are open for Black's king, where it's possible for Angel to perhaps move his bishop out to check him on b5, and then it could get quite spicy in terms of what actually happens.
Yeah, they both need to develop their castles, don't they? Um,
Yeah, they should also be looking into getting their king castled in general
oh,
because
damn.
okay, that's an interesting move right there.
Quite a bold
So
move from Anshul.
yeah, so now Angel obviously with that move threatens something like perhaps queen to c7, or
Do you think they're going to trade queens?
I don't know. It's difficult to say. I think obviously something that you often taught when trying to learn chess is that you should often try to keep your queens on the board if you're down in material, whereas if you're up on material, you should trade your queens.
Yeah.
And in this position, no one is really up very significantly, so I don't think Feather will actually look to trade here. I think Feather might just look to move his own queen and just continue the game like that.
Yeah. It's taking a little while for February to make a move here.
Yeah,
But I mean, to be fair,
it,
he's got
it
the time advantage over Anshul anyway, so he's got the time to mull
definitely
over this.
definitely Anshul took quite some time on some of those earlier moves, but the time now is very even again. And
Oh,
okay, so he goes. I was considering this move e5 where he defends his queen, but now what this does perhaps is open up some opportunities for Angel's queen perhaps to start trying to get into Feather's Feather's own defense.
do you think he's gonna try pick off some of those pawns?
I think it's very possible. What I could also see being very possible is that which I almost think would be optimal here is something just play take your bishop and play it out and check the king,
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
start getting some pieces out.
Yeah, Anshul could check the king and then get that one advantage over February in that regard. But we'll see if he notices that move as such. Again,
Yeah,
I'm still surprised that both of them haven't. Oh, he does it.
goes for it.
There you go. I I
Let's
I'm
go for it.
I'm surprised both of them still haven't developed their castles. Um,
Yeah, yeah. But let's see now. We could perhaps see no. I thought we could perhaps see some castling, but no. We see a knight move here, going for the pawn on d4, which could perhaps win back the pawn that Anshul lost a few moves ago.
yeah,
But now Feather goes for a very similar check to what Anshul did
yeah.
just
What I
the other
shall
move.
try to do, but I mean, I guess he can use that knight again, or move like that. There you go. It's another way of doing
Yeah,
it.
the main issue with that is now that obviously he can't castle his king anymore since his king has moved, and this might mean that Anshul will have to spend a couple moves to try and start getting his king to a corner and get his king a little bit more safe.
Yeah,
Because often a king in the middle is could potentially end up being in danger of being attacked. At the same time, uh, Anshul and Feathery have traded their queens, so there aren't that many pieces that can actually attack the king right now for black.
yeah. I was gonna say that, but it does feel like Angel can risk that king moving around a bit, seeing as it's literally only castles and a bishop that really threaten the king.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they continue trading or what they're gonna do. Because at the moment, if they go into an endgame, Feather will be up one pawn, but it will still be very even and not at all clear who will actually win the endgame, and
Yeah,
it will come a lot down to technique.
yeah. I mean, it does look as if this game, compared to last game, is going to be a lot closer in terms of who's going to win. It doesn't look as if there's any kind of likely checkmate anytime soon.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see how Ash will handle this. So he did take the pawn on d4, but Feather very quickly now found the idea of bishop to c5, where he pins the knight to the king, which forces Anshul now to defend the knight in some way, which he did.
Yeah. I've just noticed we have 8 people watching this live stream. So thank you all for coming.
Wonderful. Wonderful that all the chess lovers are here,
Yes, indeed.
early or late, depending on
Yeah,
where you live.
yeah. So what just happened here? It's interesting the positioning of Anshul's castles, the fact that they can bounce off each other in that regard. Um,
Yeah, that's also a very important concept that can be very strong, where you have your rooks kind of protecting each other,
yeah,
which
parallel to
will
each other, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They'll be it can be very strong, like this, where his rooks are just doing a lot of work here.
yeah,
But okay, now again we see another trade of pieces here, and now there are so few pieces on the board. It's going to be difficult for a player to checkmate the opponent just using a knight or in Anshel's case a bishop and two rooks.
are we gonna trade their castles here?
They might. If they do, it's gonna be interesting to see how their endgame skills are, because often the newer you are, the probably less kind of endgame knowledge you have, because often lower rated games end before you get to the endgame,
Yeah,
and we'll have to see. I have no idea how their endgame skills are. I think most games in this tournament even haven't actually gone to the endgame.
yeah.
Uh,
I,
and
I mean,
here
both of
they're
them.
completely even on material as well.
Yeah, I mean, both of them losing their queens quite early on has meant that late game is going to be quite hard for both of them, really, isn't it? Like you say.
Exactly. Yeah, I think if you were watching two grandmasters play, I think this would be pretty much an immediate draw.
Yeah.
But we aren't watching two grandmasters play, so that we kind of don't even know what's gonna happen. It like depending
Interesting
on
move
how
from
well they
there.
know their end.
Interesting move that February made. I was going to say to Anshul to take that knight, but now it's pinned. Oh,
Okay, so they're trading again. Now the thing here that I would say Angelo perhaps has in his advantage here is the pawn on e5 is the most advanced pawn on the board. So if Angelo is possible to kind of get that pawn a little bit further up to where it's gonna be hard for Feathery to stop it from being promoted,
yeah,
then I think Angelo could have a very good shot in this game.
yeah. I mean, it's still like as of right now, it still feels very balanced in terms of where we are. It doesn't look as if either of them are gonna propel to victory right now. But as you say, looks as if Anshul is making good progress in
Yeah,
positioning. Interesting knight move. Sorry, king move. I mean.
yeah. I actually really like this because Angelo obviously never got his king castled, but it never became a problem since they traded so many pieces. And now, at the end of the game, the kings are actually one of the most important pieces because it's very good. It's very easy to use it to go around and defend your own pieces, attack your opponent's pieces, and use it to kind of gobble up the pawns around the board.
Yeah,
But what's also important here, I do like. I think Angel has some good chances, and I would probably prefer his position. But at the same time, if you look at the time situation, Angel is down 1 minute on the clock.
yeah. That is a very good point. There's a whole minute, pretty much, just under a minute that February has on Anshul. Um, and this is where February can kind of waste his time as such to try and think of the best move possible.
Yeah, I I don't know really if I like that, because in these situations, what I would recommend to players is just don't think too much about your moves. Try and make sure that your opponent gets into low time, and then your opponent will eventually mess up somehow.
Yeah, that was an
Now he
interesting
does,
move as well.
yeah. So he does see here that his pawn on f6 is being attacked by Angel's rook, and he has to defend it, which he does. So
Yeah,
that's really good. Now, at this point, it's very much just gonna come down to who is able to kind of just get this to victory. It's gonna be difficult to checkmate them as it is right now. So I think it's gonna really just come down to who is able to get their pawns to the end of the board and make a queen.
Yeah. Do you think it could potentially come down to time? Do you think that one of them could lose on time?
Mm, I think it's possible, but I think it's a little bit unlikely. I think the odds are that someone might mess up due to being low on time, but I don't think they're gonna actually end up on no time at all.
Right.
But we'll see. I don't. It, I have honestly no idea how their time management and the end game at this point really is,
Yeah.
since it's kind of unexplored territory where we haven't really seen the players be in this position before.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of valuable pieces that both of them have, like February still has that knight still lurking around and that castle,
Yeah,
compared to Anshul, who has that still has the castle and a bishop. Um, I don't know how
yeah,
much that will play into the game, but it does look as if Anshul has better pieces potentially in terms of their skill level.
yeah. Often at higher levels, you usually say that bishops are a little bit more important than knights. They're both worth as equal amount of points, but bishops are a little bit better. Uh, but at the same time, although bishops are perhaps a little bit better, knights are very tricky because they can jump in so many different directions, and it's difficult to actually, especially when you're low on time, keep track of your opponent's knight. And
Yeah,
I kind of like the fact that Federer does have the knight because it opens up potentials for blunders.
yeah.
Now we do see here a repetition here where Anshul goes for the check and moves his rook back.
Anshul really needs to look at that time, but he's just about to reach the 1 minute time compared to February who has. There you go. He's under 1 minute now, so he now needs to think strategically about the time that he has, I guess, and what he can do in this time.
Yeah, this could come down to a time scramble, and while I do like Anshul's position, his time is just making it difficult here.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah. Oh, interesting. It's quite interesting how both of them are playing their. Well, I mean mainly Anshul, but he's playing his king quite aggressively in a way.
Yeah, yeah, I really like it. His king is doing a lot of work here, whereas Federis is just sitting quite safe.
Yeah. Oh, Anshul, you're on the 30 seconds
30
now.
seconds.
This is
This is getting dicey. He just at this point you just at this point when you get to below 30 seconds, you just you can't really at this point calculate
oh,
what's the best thing to do. Oh, and he
it's
takes
it's
with the
looking
pawn, and
bad.
I think taking with a pawn there might be the GG because now Federer has the passed pawn and he's about to get a queen as well.
Yeah, that queen.
And in the end, that's kind of just down to the time here that Anshul just wasn't able to
It was the early game. We
do
talked
these
about
things
it
in time.
earlier. How in the early game, Anshul wasted quite a lot of time, um, compared to February, who had that kind of privilege of having quite a lot of time early
Yeah,
game.
exactly. I
It's
think that's
literally
kind
down
of
to
the
10
danger.
seconds now. 10 seconds. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's difficult here for him to really do a lot of things.
Yeah,
And now that his rook is off, I think
it
it's
looks
just
like it's game over here. I don't.
yeah. And
Black
there we
one.
go.
I mean, yeah, I mean the reason why Anshul lost, as we've said, is the time and how scarce he was with time, pretty much from the beginning. I can't quite remember whereabouts he lost that time, but he made a good go at it,
Definitely, it was a
and
very Very
Yeah,
exciting game, I think.
yeah. In the chess chat, Anshul is admitting that he uh his time management wasn't the best. So we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna go for a short break now, before the finals. And the finals are gonna be 6-6 versus February. So we're gonna mute ourselves for the time being whilst we, uh, go for a toilet break or whatever. And we will be back shortly for the final. Okay? We will see you soon.
Yep.
Hi guys, we're back now. We're gonna play the bronze game now actually because I completely forgot about the bronze game. So go. I'll just he's linked the game to you.
Yep,
Um,
perfect.
so here we go. This is gonna be an interesting game. Navision versus Anshul. Um, So this is the bronze
Yes.
game. So
So
this isn't the final. This is the bronze game. So who comes third? Um, so
okay, interesting so far with the opening choice. So it's the first Sicilian that we see now today, and this is called the Dragon variation, which is one of the most kind of studied variations of Sicilian. We'll see how if they know the theory behind the opening, but it's a very fun opening here where on Black's king side you see Enkedo the bishop
yeah,
putting it on that G7 square.
I mean, again, these two are probably going to be more balanced in terms of like
Yeah,
rating. As you can see, Navision is they're both in the 1200s, which is quite nice. So if anything, this is going to be the most balanced game that we've had in this series, hopefully. I don't know if they've played each other before. I can't remember, but um, oh
I don't think they were in the same group.
yeah, they both castled.
Yeah, very solid so far. I think they both played very well, not really made any mistakes. The big thing though is that it took Angel already spent 52 seconds on move 7, so he's done a little bit on the clock.
Again,
But
this is an ongoing thing with Anshu and how he plays. It seems like he's not very good at the time management thing. I mean, if he can pull it in the bag at the end, that's fine. But we just need to be careful as
yeah,
when he plays in the future, he needs to watch that time.
definitely. It obviously you want to get into as good of a position as possible, but when the issue of course comes when you get to the later parts of the game, you're just down on time. When you use your time quite a lot in the beginning, often what you kind of need is that you're actually gonna be able to use that time, get a better position, and hopefully get a checkmate before the end game.
Yeah,
So they're getting their pieces out. They have okay. Envision is, pushes d5 here, kind of trying to break open the center.
yeah. It seems as if Navision has a better placing on the center right now. At least to me, I don't know if.
Definitely, he has both of those pawns, and if Angel was to take the d5 pawn, Envision would have the c pawn, and he would be able to capture back, and he would have two very strong pawns in the middle of the board. So it's good that Angel doesn't capture there. Something that you often want to try to do is try to just because you can take a piece doesn't mean you want to take a piece. Often it can be very good to just keep the attacks on the board and sort of keep the tension, because it also makes the game more difficult for your opponent to play, because you always have to think about, oh, should I take the pawn, should I not take the pawn. Just it makes the game much more difficult.
Yeah. So just organizing the finals, but yeah. So this is looking like oh, there you go. We're moving aggressively with that queen queen position. I hope that is no one who shouldn't be in here. Yeah, fine.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
So now he's starting to threaten a lot of things here, because now if Angel is able to get that c6 pawn, then he's gonna start getting his queen into Envision's territory, start threatening some rooks, and it's gonna be difficult at that point. So Envision will have to find a way to protect this pawn, but probably just moving his bishop is the best plan of action here.
hmm. What do you think about that attack on the Anshul? Oh, Wait, no, where do I? This looks interesting. I thought they were going to do something else, but they didn't end up doing it, so it's fine. Um,
Yeah, I think at the moment the positions are very solid as it looks right now. There's nothing really hanging. They're both just keeping everything defended and making sure that they're not making any mistakes, which they're not doing. I think both of them have played almost perfectly so far, and we're on move 12, which is very impressive.
and in terms of what each person has taken, they both have one pawn and one knight each. It looks like. So in terms of like
Yep.
their points, in terms of that, it looks pretty even in that regard as well. Rather aggressive move right there.
Yeah. So uh, I do like that he's being aggressive, but the issue now is that when you place the bishop specifically there, the bishop isn't really attacking anything.
Yeah,
Uh, so while it's good being aggressive, it's good to get actual attacks going. What would be sort of a fear right now would be something like if Animation were to move his knight to d7 to attack the bishop, then it would kind of be a redundant move where he moved his bishop just to have his bishop attacked.
yeah.
But Animation doesn't do that. He moves a5, which is also a very good find for him.
Is that him trying to get that knight, that castle out, or no?
Uh,
Like,
it, it
what's the
could
point
it,
in
it,
that?
it could potentially be. He could potentially be looking for a rook lift to a6 and then over to b6. Maybe start attacking Anshel's b2 pawn.
Hmm.
But often a moves like these, where you move your pawns to the side, are often more kind of intended for example, flanks, kind of just getting your pawns up the board, grabbing space, preventing your opponent from doing certain moves. For example, preventing Angel, for example, to push his b pawn 2 squares. Those types of moves.
Hmm.
So I really do like that Emerson went for that.
Yeah. It looks like Anshul compared to the last game, he's playing a lot more passive in a way, I guess. It's interesting. It's
Yeah,
interesting to see how both of these guys are playing differently to how they played their last game. Of course, Envision had the difficult mammoth of a task to fight against 6-6, but Anshul seems to
yeah,
be playing a lot more strategically in terms, and especially that time. Last game we saw February winning like by having like a minute ahead of Anshul, but they're pretty even on this game, which is quite nice uh, for Anshul.
yeah. Definitely. I think it's pretty much as even as it gets almost. Uh, Envision does have one advantage at the moment, and that is especially okay. He took with the
Interesting.
queen. I was gonna say if he takes with the pawn, he would have the advantage in having a very strong center. Uh, Now instead he has his queen up and ready to fight.
Yeah,
That's
both of them have their queens pretty far up the board. Uh,
definitely the danger is that while it can be good to have your queen far up, since your queen can attack a lot more things, it's also a big danger because it's easy to capture your or to attack the queens and make them liabilities instead of uh, more kind of assets to the position.
yeah,
Uh, that move right there, unfortunately for Angel, when he moved his queen up there to a5, he left his knight unguarded, and Envision immediately punished and took the knight.
yeah. So do you think Envision has quite a advantage right now? Or do you think Envision has just um,
Mm, materially, he for sure has an advantage, but I wouldn't say it's by any means over because there are still ideas here for Angel to perhaps win something back. Uh, Envision's queen is still very far up, and if Envision leaves his queen there, then he might end up in a dangerous position where he grabs the pawn, but the danger now with having his queen where it is
Yeah,
is
it's
that
quite trapped, isn't it?
yeah, it is possible to get out, but if he makes a bad move, then there's always a risk that his queen won't get out, and I think something like that would definitely be a hope for Angel to hope that Envision falls into.
Yeah. Envision needs to
Wait,
think quite tactically right now because, as we both said, that queen is in a pretty crappy position.
definitely. In fact, there's only currently 2 squares where his queen can actually go, and that is C2 and D2. We're gonna see if Envision finds one of those squares,
Oh
and
yeah,
if he
C2,
doesn't,
yeah.
then that'll be that'll be trouble if he
Oh,
doesn't
there
go
you
for any
go.
of them.
There
Okay,
you
he goes for C2.
go. No, I guess
He goes for C2, but
he could pull out, like he could do a diagonal pull out. Because if I was him, I would want to get that queen out
yeah,
as soon as possible because
definitely,
the more he leaves that queen there, the more likely Anshul will get a move to try and take it.
definitely. I even though he did find that square for the queen, he's not out of the deep waters yet because obviously his queen is still there. There are still chances for Angel to get it trapped. It all kind of comes down to now the coming moves, because I think if Envision is able to get his queen out safely, I think he has good chances to end up getting third place in the tournament. But
Yeah.
he's definitely not safe yet.
Again, just to repeat what we've said previously, Navision has a whole minute on top of Anshul right now. It seems like the same. It feels like foreshadowing what the last game looked like right now. But we'll see how it turns out. It's quite nice that compared to last game, both of them still have those queens, um, which gives a more interesting match, I guess, doesn't it?
Exactly.
That was an
It
interesting move, forking those two pawns there from Division.
Yeah. So he's currently threatening some kind of ideas here potentially. Uh, Obviously, his queen wouldn't be able to capture the pawns because Angela is the bishop defending. But still, it's good when you're attacking. It's very good to just get your pieces in there, start kind of looking for the different ideas,
Yeah.
and
I was going to say
that
it's
is
quite
good. What
interesting how he moved how Anshul moved that bishop back down to the bottom of the board. Oh shit!
oh
That bishop attacking that knight, that castle. I
yeah
mean, castle. I mean.
yeah. So now that's currently a big problem for Angela, because the bishop is not only attacking the castle, but it's also attacking the queen.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh
double
yeah.
attack.
Oh, he didn't see it. I don't think.
Okay,
Is
so
Navision going to take that queen?
the issue if he takes the queen is that then Angel now can take Envision's queen,
Oh yeah.
and it's gonna all of a sudden be up in the air. And there's really only one move here that Envision can do, which is what he did, and it's taking the rook, because now he can take the rook, Angel takes back, and
We're now in the
now
position of both of them trading their queens again.
exactly. The difference now is that Envision is up a full rook and a pawn here.
Yeah, in terms of what pieces, you're right that Navision has the advantage in terms of what pieces he has on the board. Um,
Definitely, and he also has a time advantage, which it is
again,
looking a little bit rough for Anshul, but I mean there are always chances. And what I'm currently looking at here for Anshul is that if you look at Envision's board, his king, while it seems safe, if let's say theoretically Envision's rooks weren't there, and Angel was able to get his rook up to the eighth rank, then Angel could have some chances of a checkmate, where it's sort of a back rank mate, where Angel's bishop currently on d4 is blocking the king's escape route on g7.
Yeah, yeah.
So there could be some chances like that where Angel is able to get his rook over to those positions, but
I mean, as you say, it looks as if Angel has just put the rook in quite a good position, right? Or
definitely, I think while it's definitely gonna be difficult, and he's gonna have to hope that Envision makes some mistakes. Uh, if Envision makes a severe enough mistake, then
oh, we're going to trade. Looks like we're going to trade again.
yeah. So okay, it's good that Angel didn't trade here, because if he was to trade, he would be giving up his only pieces pretty much, and then it would be very difficult to have a chance winning.
Hmm.
But
I mean,
it's good that he's keeping a rook on the board at least keeping some type of chance to win.
yeah. I mean, it does look as if it's very favourable in Navision's position right now in terms of these two rooks that are slowly progressing up the not rooks castles, but are slowly pushing up the board. Um,
Yeah, they're definitely getting there, and it's gonna be we're gonna see if Envision is able to kind of get the finishing blow here in this game.
is he going to go for a queen? Oh,
Oh yeah, it's not looking good here now for Angelo. Now that his pawn is very close to getting promoted, and
and if it does get protected, he's protected by. If it does get promoted, he's protected by that castle, isn't he?
exactly, it's very good, very strong showing here at the end here for Envision,
Yeah.
showing his kind of
And
end game skills.
this time, look, Ansher only has 14 seconds compared to that 2 minutes 34.
Exactly. Again,
It's gonna be a
time being an
yeah,
issue.
time. It's a
That
real issue
that
for Anshul.
that is very unfortunate for him for him, even because if you did have a bit more time back on a couple moves ago, there was a situation where Envision accidentally uh, pushed his pawn to a point where it didn't defend his castle, and Angel could potentially just collect Envision's castle and maybe have some chance of getting back into the game.
Yeah.
But the whole time situation makes it very difficult to
One
find it.
second. It's there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, impressive game. Navision clearly has a talent in endgame, doesn't he? He's pretty good at the
seems so.
endgame. So it looks as if Navision has won bronze. Um,
Yeah,
so
very strong show from him.
congrats to uh,
I
there
think
you go.
it's
That was a very interesting game, I have to say. That was probably my favorite game yet. I don't know
yeah.
about you.
It was a very nice game up until there, especially in the beginning where it was very evening
Evening.
even. It was very even for a very long time in that game where both players just had a lot of chance to make their case, and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was very well played by both of them, I think.
yeah. Well, we're now going to go for another short break, so that I can just set up the formatting for this final, and we'll be back momentarily, hopefully at um 12 GMT, so in 6 minutes, for for the for the final. So we'll see you soon. And yeah.
Introduce the players.
Okay.
Introduce the gladiators.
Yeah. So we're on to the final. So far it's been a very interesting game. In terms of like who has got to the like in terms of who won the games, etc. So the final will be starting in 2 minutes. But just to go through who's going to be playing, we've got 6-6, who is from Portugal, who is again a very talented player. He's played very well in this tournament so far. In the group stages, he won 3-0 against both of his opponents, and he's played well throughout the whole tournament. And then we've got Feathery Wings, who is a bit of an undercard, I guess, or underdog in this regard. And he, like 6-6, has actually played very well throughout the whole tournament. So I think this will be a very, very interesting game. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
I think you summarized pretty well. I think it's gonna be interesting. Obviously, there is the rating discrepancy, but as I'm pretty sure these are the top 2 rated players in the tournament, so was it unexpected that it would end like this? But I think both of them have had you know very fun games and up to this point, and they both have had to fight their way to get here. It's going to be very interesting now to see who can come out on top at the end and bring home the victory.
Yeah. So we're just waiting on the two players to start their game. Yeah, it's going to be a interesting game, I reckon. I'm looking forward to this. Um,
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be very fun,
yeah,
especially based on how they've already played once today, both of them, and in both their games, I think they've been they played very solidly, both of them in their respective games. So now when they're actually facing each other, it's gonna be fun to see how it goes.
we're just waiting for 6x to come back online, seeing as he's gone offline on Discord. So we're just trying to get him back into the game. Um,
Yeah, yeah, sounds good. We'll have to see here. Obviously, it's gonna be interesting to see kind of the approach that they take if they play very aggressively from the beginning, or if they kind of start off slow, if they play more solid and focus mostly on the kind of getting a very stable but defensive position, or kind of what their plan is.
yeah, yeah,
Because we've had 2 games at this point pretty much that has gone very far, where pretty much into the end game where they've had to actually show their skills there.
yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see if the finals here as well will go all the way to an
Oh,
to an
six
exciting
six
endgame, or
6-6 was the only one who has successfully checkmated someone, right? The others were time issues. Well, I think so.
so yeah, yeah, they were time issues. Yeah, it came down to time, but uh, obviously they both could have gotten the checkmate in the end. But in the end, time was the kind of deciding factor,
Yeah,
and it'll be well to see here if concerning time as well, how they're gonna do in that department. If they will spend a lot of time on their moves, or
yeah,
what's gonna
indeed.
happen.
Yeah, be just waiting for these two to start their game. It'll be, yeah, as you say, it'll be interesting to see if they play aggressively or, okay, here we go. I will send you the link, and we shall start. And let's get this final done.
Yeah,
Welcome to the final. 6-6 versus February. Um, let's do this. So 6-6 is playing black compared to previous games, I think. Again, pretty standard opening. Um,
yeah. Now, however, we've already seen a bit of a kind of not a new move, but it's a it's not as common of a move here with that specific knight. It's called the Vienna opening, and it's a bit different as it defends the pawn instead of attacking your opponent's pawn.
yeah.
Uh,
Didn't one of the other gamers play with a Vienna opening, or am I thinking of something else?
yeah, I think you're right. I think I remember seeing one game that I think was this. I don't remember exactly which one, but I think it's very possible that there was Feathery who actually played that game before as well,
Yeah,
as it
yeah.
seems that Feathery does play the Vienna as white.
Again, this looks like a very standard opening to a chess game from both of them, at least to
Ooh.
me. Um,
Yeah, it was standard, but now that is definitely not standard. This is very aggressive, in fact. trying to push that F pawn,
Yeah.
kind of getting that flank, and I think in terms of what we talked about aggressive or more defensive openings, it seems definitely like Feather is going for the aggression here,
Yeah.
and we'll have to see. Okay, so 6-6 decides to ignore it and just leave his pawn there.
That was an
And
interesting move right there. That bishop move.
yeah, so we'll have to see. It doesn't. It's not that bad, really. I would say. It's perhaps if Feather was to actually take the pawn in the middle, it could perhaps have led to some problems for 6-6 in terms of the pawn starting to attack the knight. It might. It wouldn't be perhaps a perfect position, but he's kind of stabilized now. Pushing his d pawn one square to protect his e pawn, and I think both players have a quite solid position now at this point.
Yeah. And again, it'll be interesting to see how these two players handle the time because throughout this whole tournament, or at least for the semi-finals and the bronze, we've seen time being an issue. But both of these players were experienced enough to realise that they need to watch that time. Um, Again, that was quite an aggressive bishop from 6-6.
Yeah, trying to pin that knight to the queen. We'll see here. Feather immediately pushes his h pawn to kind of start threatening the bishop, and we're gonna have to see if 6-6 decides to take the knight or if he just pushes the bishop back, and he pushes his bishop back.
As you say, predicted.
Yeah, but Feathery decides to actually trade it, and what this kind of means now is that 6-6, as you see, he has to take with the pawn. He gets a double the pawns here on the e file,
Yeah.
and he kind of opens up a square there. The f7 square is now open around his king, where it could be possible for Feathery right now even to if Feathery goes queen to h5. Actually, he can't because the horse is protecting that. Never mind. If the horse wasn't there and he could go queen to h5, that could be a dangerous check. But
He tries something like, oh no, wait, no, he doesn't. Interesting move. Again, like throughout all the games we've seen, this does feel again quite tense. I reckon out of all of them, that was an interesting queen move by 6-6, pushing the queen up.
yeah, it definitely is. It's interesting to see here who really stands better.
I mean, it's really
Because,
hard at this point to. There you go. You got the castle going. Again, I mean, I guess like February can't castle now. Wait, I mean he can, but just not as effective as the castle that 6-6 just did.
uh,
I mean, it's quite a balanced game right now. I reckon there's no kind
definitely,
of indication, and both the times are okay. I mean, February needs to watch that time slightly because he's a whole minute behind now. Just now he is behind
yeah,
6-6. We don't want to uh, repeat of the last two games that we've seen.
exactly. It uh, that's definitely so. What Feather especially has to watch out for now is the checkmate threat. Wait, what's going on? Actually, I need to probably refresh the game because it wasn't loading for me.
All
I was
right,
just stuck in one position.
all
Yeah,
right,
now I can
yeah,
see. Right, that makes more sense because for me it was still after the queen move that
all right, yeah. That was a while ago.
that's Lexus played.
Yeah, but it's interesting. So yeah, so um, February just castled. I'm pretty sure in terms of what's happened. Um, Quite interesting how 6-6 is
Exactly.
pushing that knight to fork the other February's knight.
Yeah, so that's actually a very interesting tactic there that 6-6 went for. So he takes the
Mm.
pawn, and normally you could just recapture the horse with your own pawn, but of course he opened up the attack with his rook, and uh, instead of being able to recapture the knight, Federer was then forced to move his queen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, not to go back to the time thing so much, but February really needs to look at time. Like, if you look at the time, you've got 6-6 with 7 minutes 41, and February with 5 minutes 43 right now, which is
Yeah,
quite dangerous, I think. Especially if you're playing, like, 6-6 is the better E-load player, I guess, than February, so, like, this is a great advantage to 6-6 in that regard. It'll be interesting to see what 6-6 also does with that new um that knight that has. Oh, what's happened there? Has he just risked his? What's happening with that bishop there?
see, for some reason the moves aren't really loading except for me again. Okay, that's a very interesting move there. Uh, so essentially, uh, what he did was he moved his bishop to the h6 square, where it can't be captured by 6-6's pawn,
Oh yeah.
because the pawn is pinned to the queen. The queen is pinning the pawn to the king.
Mm, yeah.
Uh, so 6-6 isn't able to recapture, but at the same time, uh, 6-6 will have to do something, because uh, if he didn't do anything, if he just made a random move, then Frederick could get the checkmate on g7 by moving his queen there, since it's supported by the bishop, and that's just a mate in one.
This here. Yeah. Do you think February will notice that, or
Uh, I think he probably will.
yeah,
I think that's probably his idea with moving his bishop there, because he now he didn't recap 6-6 captured Federer's knight, and obviously if Federer never recaptures that, then it's just down material.
yeah,
So this is still quite a smart kind of in between move, where he's threatening checkmate before recapturing the knight.
yeah? And now that's an interesting castle move. I presume your thing is working still.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's quite an interesting castle move in terms of what we've been discussing, pinning that castle um, onto that pawn as well. It's quite everything is lying on that pawn there in G7 or whatever.
exactly.
Oh,
Okay, so uh, now now he moves his. Oh, and he finds it. I was gonna say there is actually a checkmate.
wait,
Yeah, he finds it,
there you go. It's done. Wait, the checkmate.
and that's done indeed.
Damn.
So by moving his castle over there,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah,
it's quite a difficult checkmate to find. But
yeah.
he
Yeah, that is a good checkmate.
it's like
Yeah,
to find.
because
That's a
those pawns are preventing these pawns here. Of course, you can't see them. But these pawns here, they're preventing the king from moving, aren't they? Anywhere,
exactly.
and he's being pinned by by that knight. Amazing game.
Yeah, the knight is blocking all the escape squares for the king, and the bishop swoops in and puts the king in check, and that's simply it.
Yeah, I'm just asking 6-6 if he wants a short interview, um, before we do the main announcement. But yeah, no, that was a pretty incredible game. I didn't realize it was gonna be over that quickly, but I mean, 6-6 has a speciality in these check, but by text. Okay, so 6-6 is gonna do a interview with me by text instead of on call. So I'll put that out onto the forums potentially a bit later on, either today or going into next week. But I think that was a very, very interesting game overall, an interesting tournament. I guess congratulations to 6-6 on his victory.
Yeah,
And
big congratulations.
February did a very good game there. And again, amazing work. I can see 6-6 has just joined. I know you can't talk. I don't think. Um, unless you can. Can you talk?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Congratulations.
Hey,
How do you feel?
I feel great. It was nice, but maybe I thought there would be higher rated players, like at my level.
Well,
But
maybe next game Arvid can play against you. But
yeah, sure.
I mean, I think it
And
was
I'll get destroyed by Arvin.
I
But yeah,
don't know. You're very good. I've been very impressed with the way you played so far, or
yeah.
in this tournament.
oh, thank you, thank you,
So
thank you very much.
I mean,
Yeah,
we'll give you the awards that you deserve, the rewards that I laid out early on in the tournament. But again, congratulations. I mean, do you have anything else that you want to say to your kind of your fellow tournament participants, or in general? Do you have any tips? Do you want to say anything else?
yeah. I'd like to thank them for playing. They were lots, and there were lots of people playing in this tournament, and I wish there will be more people. So what they need to do, they need to play with each other more.
Yeah. So that's the tip of the day, to play with
Yeah,
each other more, to improve your skill, I
yeah,
guess.
and bring other new players to to play chess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, we all come from different countries, right? So that was
Yeah.
another interesting aspect of this tournament.
Yeah, it was a pretty global tournament. Um, and yeah, congratulations again. But anyway, so thank you everyone for tuning in. We had 8 people watching on the stream, which is more than I thought. I'll edit the videos at some point. I just see that James, you're late. Is finished. So again, congratulations to 6-6. I was gonna do something like um magical at this point, but I think I'm going to end it here, and I'll do something cool for the editing um, afterwards. So again, thank you everyone for participating, um, and thank you for the people who watched and have supported the folk playing. And again, most importantly, thank you to Arvid for commentating with me and giving tips to people, and thank you to 6-6 and congratulations to 6-6 for winning the tournament. So that is all. Thank you very much, everyone. I will be stopping the stream now, um, and I'll put out the recordings later today. So thank you very
yeah.
much, and see you later.
Okay,